Breakups are really hard, but a breakup after betrayal hits differently because you're not just losing the person, you are literally losing the version of reality you thought you were living in. And one day you think you are in a relationship, and then the next day you're questioning everything. What was
Mhm.
real, what wasn't, and how you didn't see it. And instead of just grieving the relationship, you're dealing with shock and anger and confusion, and sometimes even blaming yourself for something you didn't even create in the first place. So today, we are talking about how to actually deal with a breakup after betrayal. And when it's not just heartbreak, it's everything collapsing all at once. And to have this conversation with me, I'm joined by a very special person. I'm actually very thrilled to introduce him. His name is Peter Chan. He is
Oh,
a psych. Hi, Peter. Welcome to the show. So, I'm joined by Peter Chan. He's a psychologist based in Hong Kong who works at the intersection of counseling, teaching, and mental health innovation, and the founder of Treehole Hong Kong, where he focuses on helping individuals build emotional resilience in the face of modern life challenges. His work integrates psychological counseling, education, and mental health technology through the Mind Forest app. With a background in psychology from the University of Hong Kong and academic experience at the University of Oxford, Peter draws from psychoanalysis and existential psychology, particularly the work of Irvin Yalom, to support people in navigating life's contradictions and rebuilding a grounded, authentic sense of self. Hi, Peter. You have an incredible bio, and I just loved speaking about you. How are you doing today?
yeah, I'm good. Thank you for having me. This is my first time to be featured in an English podcast. So thank you for having me. I mainly do local content creation. So thank you for bringing this to me to a broader audience. I'd love to talk about the topic.
Of course. And if you don't know Peter, go check out his YouTube channel, which I'm definitely going to link towards the show notes and I'll definitely add it. He's mostly makes a lot of videos on Cantonese, and his videos have like over millions and thousands, I should say millions and millions of views. So, he's a very famous guy in Hong Kong. So, Peter, remember, I'm actually saying this on this podcast. We better meet at Treehole Hong Kong when I'm in Hong Kong, okay?
Yeah, definitely. I will visit you if I come to the States as well.
That sounds great. Thanks, Peter. So, Peter, tell me about what led you to into psychology in the first place and the work around resilience, especially in such a fast-paced place like Hong Kong.
Right, right. I think it's really a long story. When I was small, I was quite interested in science. So I just love to understand how the world works. And when I was more like in junior school, I thought of being a chemist and going into the academia. So I studied the periodic tables. And even though I haven't got into university yet, I pick up those university textbooks to read, but in chemistry. So I remember when I was like 13 or 14, in secondary school in Hong Kong. I think it's equivalent to the junior, like year 12 or year 13 in the Western education system. I started to growing an interest in the human mind. So I remember I began by reading books, those I would say pseudo psychology books, those like how to read people in 3 seconds, how to like get people to buy into you. Um, I couldn't understand a lot at the time because I was a teenager. But I found that the field is quite fascinating. And out of a curiosity to science, I started to pick up some psychology books to read. So I read psychology books at a very young age, and then I got into Hong Kong U. So that's how I started my career in psychology. And I remember upon graduation, it's 2018 in Hong Kong. So I started to do some mindfulness workshop because like this is one of my interest and practice as well. But I was
Mhm.
just a one-man band, so doing solo podcast, doing solo videos, and solo class teaching. And I remember the turning point was really 2019. Hong Kong had a social movement at the time. And I think this is quite a tense period for the people in the city. And I would like to echo on your introduction. it shakens our core beliefs. Like the reality is shaken to the very core. So I thought, okay, as a practitioner in psychology, I could have done something to try to make psychology something accessible to the public. So that's how the company goal of building resilience for the times, the slogan in our YouTube channel came into shape. And talking about my forest, I also had a very interesting background. When I was in university, most of my interns, I served as a full stack developer. So I type programs. So
Mm,
I know the craft to generate code without an AI. That's a traditional craft in 2026. And that
wow.
activity came about, and I said, okay, what about I make AI empowered mental health app? So I built a Mind Forest. So I would say I sit between the intersections of how the society works, the AI and neuroscience. That's my personal interest, and also psychology. So yeah, I have a diverse interest, and I hope I could delve deeper into each one of them. But time is never enough. So that's a bit background about me.
I love that. So you're a psychologist and a developer. And basically, yes, the Mind Forest app, which is, I
Yeah.
would say 100% go check it out, especially if you're in Hong Kong, you can download it. And it's a web link, right? So anyone can have access to it, correct?
Yeah, it's an app in both English and
Cantonese.
other languages. And for my video,
Ah,
I hope the AI would get even better, so they could translate my Cantonese content naturally into English. But it's not good enough, so I guess we have to wait. Yeah,
it will happen. Like
that will
technology
happen.
is catching up.
Yeah,
Perfect. Thank you so much, Peter, for telling us. So I would love to now dive into this topic of betrayal and breakup with women. So
yeah,
I think breakup after betrayal feels very different from a normal breakup, right? A normal
yeah,
breakup is girlfriend, boyfriend, okay, I don't want to be with you, or a husband, wife. I mean, I don't
yeah.
think husband, wife has a breakup. I think that's a divorce. But a normal breakup is so different. What's actually happening psychologically in that moment
I
for
see.
a woman who just got betrayed and now she wants to have a breakup with her partner?
Hmm. I think there's several crucial differences. For example, I think Dimple, as you have said, usually the breakup, like the normal breakup process, take phases. And I remember there's a recent relationship research showing that actually the signs of breakup are happening 2 years before the actual breakup. So, for example, they talk
Ah.
less, they have less intimate exchanges, like physically and psychologically, and then it turns to a tipping point where they officially voice out the request to end the relationship. So you can see in this period, although it wouldn't be easy, it wouldn't be chill, but we are making the internal mental preparation of, okay, how do I navigate in life? What would be my life after? So these kind of process, they really help to build the resilience factors. For example, if you're thinking, oh, okay, my relationship is not going well to me, you can do several things. For example, you may choose to talk it out. That's a good thing to do. You may
Mhm.
even choose a relationship therapist. And sometimes relationship therapists and psychologists, um, sometimes they seeing a therapist lead to a breakup as well. But
Mhm.
after in that conversation to know that, okay, maybe we have really different life path. So this kind of preparation, they are sort of like the mental buffer for you to process the grief. Or maybe you will build like different capitals, like mental capitals, for example, friendship network as well, to buffer the effects of ending a relationship. But I would say betrayal is quite different in this landscape. Basically, you just discover it, and shock comes into you. And it is difficult for several reasons. If we think about the function of a relationship, so when we talk about a function of an intimate relationship, we will usually talk about an attachment theory coined by psychologists Ainsworth and Bowley. And they would say in a functioning relationship, the intimate partner sort of function as a safe space for exploration. Like when we
Mhm.
consider when we were small, and our primary caretaker served that function. For example, the psychologist even ran an experiment when a kid and his or her mother is taken to like a room with strangers, and when the mothers left, basically the boy or the girl, they would just stop exploring because like they don't have the secure base to explore, and they would cry and stuff. And when the mother come back, then the exploratory behavior began. So I think this experiment clearly shows that the secure base is there. The secure base is important. So when we extrapolate this concept into like adult intimate relationships, our spouse serve that purpose. So just say they are not there suddenly, and the secure base is gone. So that's the like I would say that's the grief to process. And I think there's a deeper grief to that in terms of betrayal. Basically, you will start asking yourself questions. Is the secure base really secure? Because like it seems like you're
Mm.
living in a facade. Like the secure base, I thought, okay, my spouse is a secure base, and suddenly it's not secure. So what about for future relationships? Can I really trust that? Can I really build that trust? So I think that is the crux of the issue that makes it so devastating.
Oh, wow. You gave us a whole different point to even think about. Interesting. This is so cool. So that's why women feel insecure right away. And right
Yeah.
away, they feel destabilized, right? They just
Yes.
don't feel stable within.
Yeah.
Interesting. This is so cool. Why does it feel so hard to let go, even when you know that this relationship was not even healthy?
Mm-hmm. I think there's several reasons. One of them is the uncertainty. I think humans are quite tied to psychological factors and uncertainty, and we kind of have the love or hate relationship to
Mhm.
uncertainty itself. Just think about gambling. So when you go to casinos, you lose money, you feel the pain, and actually, the pain of losing $100 is actually larger than gaining $100. So
That's
that's
true.
yeah, that's well established by like a psychologist called Daniel Kahneman. But the pleasure is very real. Like the pool is very real. So you kind of seek that kind of tension, that kind of paradoxical feelings. And I think that happens to betrayal breakup as well. For example, if a breakup is well planned, there's less uncertainty. We know the reason, like we know why the
Mhm.
relationship is not working out. We had conversations. We tried to resolve it, but we couldn't. So this is the final step. Uh, I think you would agree that the uncertainty is not as high. And by the
Mhm.
way, another relationship advice based on psychology. So breakup, especially divorce will hurt the children, right? Psychologically. And I came across a book by Nancy McWilliams. Like she talks about psychoanalysis, and she said that the best way to mitigate the harm towards the children is to explain to them in details why the marriage is not working.
Ah,
Yeah,
uh-huh.
so they have to, so they can stop guessing. Because, like in children, sometimes they do not speak, but a lot is running on their heads. They will say, "Okay, am I the burden to the marriage? Did the divorce happens because of me?" So they kind of introject that negativity into oneself, and that could cause a very lasting psychological damage. But clarity breaks into it. So I would say the crux of the issue is the uncertainty. And in betrayal, like breakup, we start guessing. Okay, we would say that if I had done that, would it not happen? For example, we may ask ourselves, can I still repair the relationship? And some people they will be in a spirals of negative thoughts about themselves. Is it because of
Mhm.
me? Could I have done better, or should I forgive and try to repair the relationship? And in case
Mhm.
they try to repair the relationship, they would say, okay, what would what would happen if it happens again? So I would say the uncertainty is definitely at play here.
Wow. That actually makes total sense because that brings me to my next question, which is I have seen this and it happened to me as well. which is a lot of women just keep replaying everything in their head, right? Like, what did they miss? What they could have done differently? Why do you think the mind does that? Like replaying the story or replaying maybe the day that they discovered the betrayal over and over and over again in loops.
Yeah, yeah. So I think what you have talked about is called the rumination patterns, which
Mm-hmm.
means negative thoughts just circulating around your mind and you couldn't get rid of it. And when it gets severe, it can actually hamper your life as well. And I think one of the reason for people to ruminate is that they kind of want a sense of control, because like after when the external environment is not controllable, and you basically try to get your way at it. And sometimes rumination can be useful. Like for example, when you take a spectrum on how detailed should we think about an incident. So basically, these are two extremes, right? Some people, no, I'm not just talking about women and not just talking about relationships. Some people would be like, okay, let's stop thinking about it, just live in the present. Sometimes it's the optimal strategy, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes when you screw up something, you have to reflect, you have to think, okay, what did I done wrong and how could I have done it better? Is it my responsibility or that their responsibility? Is actually constructive. But when you are going into an extreme end, so the question I think that naturally arises: how do I know when I'm going into extreme end? I think there's a few indications. For example, you are going into loop. You are thinking about the same question and every same question at 3 a.m. in the morning, and you couldn't sleep because of it. And there's a phenomenon called the spillover effect as well. For example, I'm not talking about, okay, those people with psychological strength, they wouldn't feel everything when they're getting betrayed. That's not true. I'm quite sure I would be quite devastated if I'm betrayed. But
Mm-hmm.
rather, if that start to creeps in my every aspect of life, for example, I couldn't work, that damage my social relationships, like my other friends. That damage my family relationships. Or example, I am doubting my very value of existence. Then
Right.
that's spill over. Like I could say, okay, I could think about maybe I didn't do well in my relationship. That's not spill over, and maybe there's certain truth to it. It depends on the situation. That's normal. But if I were like, okay, it's every aspect, I am a garbage, I am a rubbish, then that's spill over. You have to get alert in this. And I remember I came across of some research. There's some gender differences as well. And the men and women, their coping style is a bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Men, they kinds of they sort of more they have a more like I would say proclamation and inclination of using distraction as coping strategy. So I don't know if it in the Western world as well. There's a joke in Hong Kong, a
Mm-hmm.
couple where they have some argument, and the guy they would say, okay, let's stop talking about it. I want to play some video games. And the girl, the woman would be like, let's talk it out. We have to settle this. Is it
Yes.
the case for other like Western culture as well?
Yes, totally. Like it's the same here. Like the girl wants to talk and the guy wants to play on his phone or he wants to just be on Facebook and scroll Instagram because that's more important. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's not cultural specific. It's a
Correct.
gender phenomenon, right? But
Gender,
of course, I'm
yeah.
not saying that all men and all women are like that, but a
Correct.
general tendency. But I think at these times, the opposite sex have something to learn from our own.
Mm.
For example, let's say I over rely on the distraction strategy as a guy,
Mm-hmm.
then basically I wouldn't delve into the crux of the issue, and maybe I didn't understand my partner enough. That's a thing for me to learn, to adapt to the more I would say more feminine strategy. And for the women, there's like a masculine strategy for them to learn as well. For example, when they're going to loop, is there some coping strategy, some attention, um, and some I would say direct your attention to other places that you could do as well. For example, build the habits, go to see friends.
Mm.
So I would say in this sense, each gender truly have something to learn from the other gender.
Interesting. Got it. Makes sense. So, which means if a woman is going in loops, she can actually build some coping strategies to
Yes,
not go into that loop.
yes, yes.
Got it.
And
Mm-hmm.
there's a strategy like often prescribed by psychologists called worry time as well. For example, it's
Mm-hmm.
like limit your worrying times. For example, you are doing it 12 hours a day. Why not set I would say 30 minutes maybe in the afternoon to think about that guy who betrayed you and the other places you go into your thing. Yeah.
Put it on your calendar. Worry
Yeah.
time because the guy who cheated on you, now you can sit and worry. And yeah, that's a great idea. I love that. Like schedule your worry time.
Yeah. Worry as much as you like in that time, then go on with your life.
Only in that time. And after 30 minutes, put a timer and come out of it and live your life, right?
Yeah. Your
I
life.
love that. I love that. So, okay, I would love to talk about this one thing that happens a lot with women, which is it normal to still miss someone who hurt you? Because that confuses a lot of people. Like you just got betrayed and you already broke up with this person and now all of a sudden you see his text messages or you see his pictures and you start missing that person. Is that normal?
Yeah, I think that's quite normal. I recently read a book
Hmm.
called Ignorance, the love and I don't know, I forgot the subtitle, but it's talking about love and limerence by Dorothy Tanoff. And
Hmm.
they covered the term like limerence, which is a new English term, which kind of means that a strong attraction towards an unattainable partner, maybe during
Ah.
the state of pursuit and maybe during the stage of breakup as well. And in that book, they said that the crux of the limerence is two factors. The first of which is hope, and the second of which is uncertainty. And so if it's like dead, we couldn't see, we don't talk to each other anymore, then there's no hope, right? So you wouldn't be sustaining the limerent state. But
Mhm.
some couples break up, sometimes they still text each other, and then the hope and uncertainty could reignite. I think the book puts it very well. They say that the one of the central features of limerence is that you kind of interpret every action with the respect of whether they are falling limerence of me as well. So, for example, when you break up with a person and then they text you back, then you're starting to interpret action, the action of that they text you in the regards of can we repair the relationship. So that would just
Mm.
go into loop and loop and loop. And I think my personal take to this is that yes, this is a very normal feeling, and this is exactly how attachment works. Attachment is attachment after all. Attachment is talking about you are relying others on as your secure base, and you are talking about you co-constructed your life at least in a certain time period, and now you part. So still clinging on to that feelings can be very important, can be very normal, I would say. But one point I try to add on is this. I think like intimate relationship, for example, uh, I think the relationship can be multifaceted. For example, some people they become friends with their ex, not because they still have that romantic attachment, not
Mhm.
because they still want to run through the narrative of living life together, but they truly cherish the times they spend together. Some people can be like that. Of course, I'm not making the statement that every couple should be like that. After all, like each person is different.
Mhm.
But you can see that that have their value as well for some people. Yes, so I think it's normal to have different feelings. Everyone is different.
Mm. Can you give us like more examples on limerence? Because I love what you talked about. Um, Examples of limerence when it comes to someone who actually got betrayed, like a woman, but she does not have any hope in the relationship. So, what would limerence look like in that situation?
Mhm. So I think the book didn't talk much about breakup. It's mainly for
Ah,
didn't for people who didn't get into couples. But
uh-huh.
it is generalizable in the sense that some people after they break up they want to get back together, right? So
Mm,
that
mhm.
is some resemblance, and I would say that at least according to that book, limerence need to be sustained by hope. If your thought is like, okay, there's can be absolutely no hope, I would say that's more like grief instead of limerence in that regard. But sometimes it's not yes and no. And I think the art of the book is that when you are limerent about somebody, basically your mind is quite different from your normal state. You would interpret every gesture as a possibility of reciprocating or possibility. So, for example, they are saying happy birthday to you. I think it's quite common, right? Like, I don't play Facebook anymore, but if you look at my Facebook, like every year, like 10 people, they said happy birthday to me. That means nothing, right?
Correct.
Yes, it's automated message. On my LinkedIn, I got a lot of happy birthday wishes as well. I believe it's the same for you, right?
Yes.
We have automated feature function, like
exactly
our like social network building.
Yeah.
But that message, that happy birthday message is different. It's just different. Maybe it's not different, but your mind would think that is different. So I would say you have a lens, you have a filtering lens on that in that regard. So the threshold for hope is quite low. It's quite easy to cross the threshold. And I remember some scholar pick up on Dorothy Tanoff's work, and they said the thought pattern of those who are limerent towards other people resembles an obsessive and compulsive pattern, which is like the OCD in the psychopathological lexicon. One of the signatures is intrusive thoughts. You just couldn't stop but think about that person, think about the possibility. So I would say that's the parallel. But if it's like, okay, there's really low hope, then I would say grief would be a more, would be a like psychological construct that fits into the loss of the relationship more than limerence. So it depends on the stage, like how far are you apart? Are you still talking? That sort of thing.
Makes sense. Wow. Thank you for answering that, because I was curious. And I have a very curious mind if you can sense this like already. And that's why, because you are a psychologist, and I'm like, this is my moment to ask you everything that I want to ask. So what do you think betrayal does in terms of trust, right? Not just with others, but within yourself. Especially the woman got betrayed and now she's breaking up. What does it feel like? What does the word even trust feels to a woman who has been betrayed?
I think a deeper issue is that it's not just about the person. It's about the quality of your love, the quality of your effort as well. So this is quite a complicated concept, and let me try to explain it. This is the first time I do English, so hopefully I could do it well enough.
You're doing well. Thank you, sir.
Hopefully. So there's a psychoanalytic scholar called Ronald Fairbairn, which I kind of like him. His book is really insightful. And they said, okay, a person have two objectives. First of all, we have to receive love, and the second of which we have to give love. So in a like functioning relationship, you can see that the quality of love, or the psychoanalytic lexicon, the libido, is flowing between the two persons. For example, I love you and you love me. That's the ideal situation, of course. There would be frustration. There would be cases of blockage or flowing through the libido, but they could be repaired. For example, they talk it out. It's called rupture and repair in the psychological term. But think about it, breakup, especially betrayal, is quite different, right? It is different in two senses. The first of which is that it is not repairable. If you're thinking, okay, it's the end of the relationship, some people, they still attempt to repair it. In some cases, it is repairable, but for some people, they would just put a period. They would just put a full stop on the relationship. So the channels no longer exist. So the second issue is that you start to look back in your times. What is the quality of your love given, and the quality of your love that you received? Is it real, and is it genuine? So some psychological formations would be like, am I really capable of giving love that would be received by the other? Because the line of thought is, had they received my love, then there would be a relationship. But the fact that they are on surface receiving my love, but instead doing something else, that would signify the concept that, okay, my love is not being received. So ramifications is that, could I still give love? According to Fairbairn, he coined the concept. For example, the love we could not give, the affect we couldn't give out, they would flow inwards and direct to different objects. Different objects means that maybe not a person, but rather an ideology, or example, or an interest, or maybe some aversion in extreme cases. So, but you could see that, okay, to a certain degree, it's actually healthy. For example, I think we have heard of the story. Some people, they are in colleges and then they break up, and people, they reinvest that love energy into that subject, right? For example, physics, they keep doing physics. So I think this is an interesting question. How do the subject takes on the quality of love? Things like this could happen as well. This is the functional aspect. But for example, if you're reinvesting too much of that energy into internal objects instead of like different real genuine relationship, it hampers your ability to build genuine relationship in the future. So I would say it's a balance. Distractions can be good, redirection of affects can be good, but I think that the question is to ask is it diverting yourself from reality? Is it like hampering your ability to build real relationships in the future? These are the questions to ask, and sometimes there's no straightforward answers.
Beautiful. So I think we should definitely talk about how can someone really start rebuilding their sense of self after everything feels broken for them.
Yeah. This is a healthy topic. I think the first one, no, I don't think there's a silver bullet. No one size fit all solution.
Correct.
I think there's a few general principles. The first of which is to understand everyone's response is different. There's no one size fit all solution. For example, I think talking about grief, many of the people on the internet may have heard of the 5 stages of grief. The denial. Also, what's the second stage? I think I forgot, but
that's okay. Just Google, guys. Google 5 stages of grief. Okay.
Yeah, but I think one of the common misconception is that they progress linearly. For example, first stage, you allow yourself 3 months, and let's go on to the second stage, going on to the third stage. Sort of like how do you move your career? For example, first stage you are a junior, the second year you are a senior, and by the time you are in the 5th year, if you are not being promoted to a manager, then your career is a failure. Some people, they take this kind of mindset in their career and their relationship.
Yes.
But it's a curved road. Maybe sometimes you feel anger. Sometimes you feel, okay, I'm finally able to accept it. And you think, okay, am I good? And some people, they just bounce back to the anger stage. So it's a cycle emotion. So the first thing is that it's different for everybody. And you have to give yourself space and time to rebuild yourself. I think this is quite important. And the second of which, one of the things that interests me in is mindfulness. And I think the crux of mindfulness is to accept that you can have different feelings. Some people, they are just trying to, okay, I have to be good. I have to feel well 3 months after. But I think forcing yourself to heal is sort of like, let's stop thinking about a pink elephant. The harder you are trying to stop that thought, stop that feeling, the more it pops up.
Yeah.
So allow yourself to feel the pain and allow yourself to feel the grief, but not allowing yourself to collapse. It's hard to control our thoughts and emotion, but try to ask yourself, okay, if your life is collapsing due to a betrayal, what would be something that I could do for myself, no matter how small? For example, it could be as simple as pick up an interest I try to learn when I was small. If it's too much of an ask, for example, some people, they would say, oh, my energy level is really small. What about like buy a bagel that you like? That could be smaller. That could be easier. What about going on a walk? But try to think about, okay, what would be something I could do to myself, no matter how small I am. I read a book, it's called 12 Rules of Life, and I think one of the suggestion is quite useful. Treat yourself as if you are going to treat the value friend. For example, if your friend is breaking up, try to think about what would you do to that person. You would be with them, you would try to do something with them, you would encourage them, you would cheer them up, try to do some small favors to them, try to do the same to yourself, try to rebuild your life. And if it's too fundamental and if it's shaking you to the core, I would say consult a professional counselor or therapist or psychologist would be a good option as well.
Or contact Peter directly, and Peter is going to help you, but you need to be in Hong Kong, or you can book remote sessions with Peter. Thank you so much, Peter. This was actually a wonderful conversation, and you gave us so many different insights. And maybe I need to ask you one personal question. How many books do you read a year?
How many books I didn't count, but I think I do daily morning reads. I'm on a Lacanian psychology books by Bruce Fink recently.
Wow. Okay, this is great because now I have someone that's up my part because I literally listen to 500 books a year. So I'm like, Peter, now you and I have a competition, which I will tell you who's gonna win. Maybe you need to keep listening to our podcast and maybe we'll bring Peter for another podcast. Thank you so much, Peter. It was wonderful chatting with you and you gave us lots of insights. And is any last words that you would like to say to the woman who is going through a breakup right now? Anything that you would like to tell her?
Yeah, I think the first thing I would like to say is to you, I feel you have the psychologist curious energy. Like I think being a good psychologist is to be curious, and it's a fortune for you to invite me on your podcast. And one of my last words I would like to say is actually drawing from Yalam, my personal inspiration. So this is as I've said, this is my first podcast in English. But I think in Hong Kong, I'm sort of giving that, just a guy energy on my channel. Not that sort of like a professional lecturing to you energy, but just a guy having their own problems. I have my own relationship struggle as well. And I think that would be more healing to the people surrounding, listening to the content. And this is actually drawing from Yalam. Irvin Yalom, which is a very famous psychologist. And one of the things I admire him so much is that he would admit his shortcomings. He would admit his fears. And sometimes he has done psychotherapist for like 40 or 50 years. And still sometimes he thinks that he's screwing up. I think that's really giving the mental energy, the resilience to the people. Because one of the things I would like to say, okay, no one is different. We all have to answer to the questions of love and life. And maybe that's not a silver bullet. And no one has figured it out. But we are on the same path. So, yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. So basically admit your fears and be vulnerable about wherever you are in life. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Peter. So I'll definitely add your information onto our show notes. Where can our audience find you?
Yeah, so my content is mainly in the Cantonese at the moment, but it's Treehole HK. Search that on YouTube. And if you would like to try some like mental health AI solution, search Mind Forest on Google Play or App Store, and then you would download the app. And if you would like more English content, then ask Dimple to interview more, so I could see you in the future.
100%, 100%. And maybe, who knows, I'll be interviewing Peter right in Hong Kong. We'll do a live podcast one day. Thank you so much, Peter. I will add your information to our show notes. It was wonderful having you.
Thank you.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. And for all of our listeners, always remember, you are awakening. See you in the next podcast.
Bye-bye.